There's a new piece in the New York Times about President Trump's typical day. It really gives us a look in hour by hour what the president's day is like.
So they talk about how many Diet Cokes he drinks a day to how much TV he consumes. We kind of get a glimpse inside, but also how he has evolved as a president while in the White House, Victor, how he thinks and how he acts. We want to talk about this with our political panel, Kyle Feldscher and Sarah Westwood. First, let's talk about the one that's getting all the play on social media right now. It really is interesting that the president drinks about 12 cans of Diet Coke a day, that he can watch up to 8 hours of television a day, and that before he took office, he said to think of each presidential day as an episode in a TV show. Is this concerning? Is this just sort of a look at his non-traditional habits, Kyle?
It really is. Your point that it's a non-traditional habits. I mean, this is a man who made his career off of being his own publicist and being, getting his name out there. And he was an entertainer on TV before, he really entered the world of politics. So to see that he would think of the world, or think of the presidency as a TV show is kind of keeping in line with the fact that he was the host of The Apprentice. He kind of saw his life in that way.
Yeah, but Kyle, is it really fair to the American people to be just, pawns in the Trump show, to just sort of be these background characters in a show starring Donald Trump?
Well, I think a lot of people knew what they were voting for when they voted for this guy. I mean, he had run his campaign in the same way he's running his presidency. It was a constant from one movement to the next, and people seem to like that. I'm not sure if he won the Electoral College, obviously didn't win the popular vote, and has really, really low for a first-year president approval ratings. But nonetheless, this is something that the American people. This is not a flaw. This is something that was unexpected. This is part of the package with Donald Trump. I think people expected this when they voted for him.
Sarah, there is a part of this piece here that seems to sort of show a bit of at least some sort of evolution of thought. His advisors said that when Trump came into office, that he thought being president would be like ruling by fiat and cutting backroom deals. And now that he's learning that maybe the presidency doesn't work that way, if you're a Republican, perhaps you're encouraged by hearing that, he needs to, quote, woo and not whack leaders of his own party to get things done.
Right. That was one of the most fascinating aspects of the story to me, was to show that someone who is over the age of 70, someone who is often described as being inflexible in his ways, is actually changing the way he views the job of the presidency. There were some descriptions of some run-ins he had with Republican lawmakers earlier this year over the summer, that he tried to boss them around, that he tried to dictate commands to them as if they were his employees, and he learned that that's just not the way Washington works. It sort of explains some of the public animus we saw over the summer when his legislative agenda was stalling, when we saw that he was feuding with Republican lawmakers behind the scenes. We now know that he was learning how the presidency interacts with Congress. Now that he sort of has the rhythm down a little bit more thoroughly, we're seeing that his agenda is starting to move through Congress, and maybe that evolution of thought is explaining why he's being more successful now.